Yeah, baby. Yeah. The Mac is back. Back with another video. Hello, the initiated. My name is Marcus Junikala, and today we're having a look at DM-307 by Heavyocity. In terms of what this is, we'll refer to their website because I feel like this summarizes it better than I can do off the top of my head. So the subtitle for this is Modern Groove Designer. They call it highly stylized, features a collection of modular synth drums, live percussion, and processed classic analog drum machines. Over 3,600 electronic cinematic sounds. Cool. Actually, the website is pretty clean and simple. I think that kind of covers their take on it. Tech specs wise, 7.5 gigs uncompressed, 4.8 with NI lossless compression. And I think the rest of it will go through as we go through the library. Requirements, this is Kontakt engine based. So you need Kontakt 5 player, version 5.5.1.451 or higher. There you go. Cool. Nice. So in terms of what my sort of background with this library or relationship with this library is, this isn't actually a blind demo. I've been using this library for many months now on this soundtrack that I'm writing for the video game Breachway, and this is pretty heavily involved in that. For this soundtrack, I want to go for a hybrid of some actionable orchestral percussion meeting some electronic components, because probably a year into sketching ideas for this soundtrack, I realized that I didn't want all of the percussive elements to be completely organic. So I felt like I wanted to add a tad bit of electronic spice in there. And I was facing an issue of really not finding great libraries for this. There are obviously many drum machine libraries out there, many electronic percussion libraries out there. I should actually take that back because there aren't that many of them. But I wanted something that does the electronic stuff, but with cinematic edge to it. So I did my research, didn't really find many options, but DM-307 popped up, and this was a library that I knew existed before. I just never had utility for it. I didn't have a project for it. And then I went like, okay, it's Heavyocity. There must be something here. Because before I just sort of, brushed it off because, as I said, I didn't have a use case for it. So I thought, okay, if Heavyocity did it, it must be pretty solid. I looked at the demos. I was like, yeah, I think that is gonna cut it. And like I said, this happened many months ago. So I sent Heavyocity a message if I could do a video on this. They kindly enough said yes. And in fact, I've filmed this a video for this library, I think 2 or 3 times already. The first time I wasn't happy with it. I think the second time I sort of ran out of time, and the third time we had some kind of a video capture error. So knock on wood, this is probably more wood than this table is. Let's try and get back in zoom here, or in focus, which seems to be, there we go. Yeah, let's hope everything goes fine this time. So yeah, in terms of transparency, Heavyocity did send me this copy way back. So first of all, apologies for the delay, for the reasons that I mentioned, and apologies for not getting back to it sooner. And as always, that being said, all opinions are my own, both in good and bad. I haven't been asked to say anything one way or the other, nor would I ever do that. And I'm not being paid to film or edit this video. Where was I going to go from here? Yeah, so this isn't a blind demo. Obviously have quite a bit of experience with this library. already. But yes, as I was doing my research on tools like this, I already found there to be a pretty distinct lack of them out there. Or if they're out there, they're pretty tough to find. But I obviously knew the productional quality that Heavyocity brings to the table, so I pretty comfortably, leaned into this. And I knew that also by, I use a lot of Damage stuff for this soundtrack as well, so I knew they were going to probably sit pretty well together, and indeed they do. But interestingly enough, I think there could be a lot of more electronic, cinematic, percussive stuff out there. I think that seems like a bit of a there's a bit of a gap for that out there. That being said, I don't know how familiar a lot of people are with this library. Maybe you did what I did, sort of brushed it off faster than you probably should have back then. Obviously, this is dependent on what kind of music you write or what you're writing right now. But this is definitely worth taking another look at, because it is indeed one of actually my favorite libraries from Heavyocity. They obviously have a ton of really amazing stuff, but this has really filled in a nice place in my palette of sample libraries, and it does cover a lot of ground that I need covered. And also, it's an interesting library from the perspective of covering a lot of different genres. As we go through these kits, you're going to hear that it has a lot of scope. And indeed, it's designed with this in mind. We have folders for sort of more cinematic stuff and more, electronic stuff. So whatever it is that you do, don't underestimate what this can deliver, because I think it can be pretty hard to grasp all of the genres and the scope of what this can cover. But taking myself to the DAW, as we open the side browser here, when you open this up, the first time you get instruments, and then you get multis. And, I suppose multis are multiple opening up multiple iterations of this in the same contact window. But we're going to focus on the instruments folder here. I want to try and show you what this is really at the individual level, and then through the multis and through the other stuff, you can know how it can be, stacked. But going into the more specific stuff to, let you know what this sounds like. You have three main folders in the Instruments tab. You have Kit Grooves, then you have Kits, and then you have Loops. So we're going to start off with Kits, because this is simply the stuff in its sort of most basic form. In the Kits folder, you have four further folders. You have DM-307 style kits, you have element kits, impact and effects kits, and then standard MIDI kits. So we're going to start off with the DM-307 style kits, and what we have opened up here is the Aggressive 1 kit. So I'm going to actually try and play a bit of all of this here. As you can see down here in the keyboard area, we have a lot of stuff to be covered here, a lot of samples, but I'll play them as they speak to me and inspire me. In terms of looking at the interface here, up to the top right, we have three different tabs. You got Main, then you got TFX, and then you got EQ Filter. EQ Filter, pretty self-explanatory. TFX are these momentary effects you can apply with these red key switches in the down right corner, and in the main page you have most of your stuff here. So to the left, Master Effects, you have delay, modulation, reverb, distortion. Again, they are pretty self-explanatory here. Layout is very simple. clear, clean, concise. To the right side, you've got volume envelopes, so attack, decay, sustain, release, basic stuff. Here you can choose which one you are working on. The drop down menu, and in the sample, you got the same controls there. Here in the middle, you have a twist knob, you have a punish knob, and then this sample tab, in which you can actually see the sample that you're dealing with. Here you can tune it, which this is a great function because I pretty much tune almost everything I'm using with this right now. It brings tremendous scope to this library because the tuning, it just works really, the sounds work really well with that. And a lot of the time I might find, you know, a good sound, but then I drop it in the session and it's not quite right. And I basically tune that to the track. So I'm using this all the time. It's fantastic. And then obviously pan and level. Seeing the sample here in the center might seem trivial to some, but it's actually super useful because a lot of when you've been looking at audio for a long time, you really begin to build a connection between what they look and sound like. Obviously not in an absolute fashion, but it can really help save a lot of time. Like, let's say I'm looking for a kick or I'm looking for a snare. This can really help me, you know, understand what I'm dealing with, especially when you're dealing with the loops, which we'll look at later on. Just having a look at the whole loop of it gives you an idea of what's in there. So cool, that's simple enough. And then here you have the grid thingy majingy, which is basically this sequencer. So again, there's a lot of stuff in here, tremendously flexible in typical Heavyocity fashion. And yeah, just your creativity tends to be the limit in these when you're dealing with these libraries. In terms of what you'll be hearing today, it's only DM-307 in action. I don't add any effects, no added processing. I only have a limiter on the master bus to make the level decent for this video. I've made it as transparent as possible. As we're dealing with a percussion library, there's a lot of transient energy in here. So some of those peaks, I will be, obviously the limiter will be catching some of that, but I will keep it again as transparent sounding as possible. So we don't have, you know, audible squashing or distortion there. But some of those very extreme peaks will be caught because otherwise the level for this video is not going to be, shall I say, uniform enough, so that the level of the drums is somewhat leveled with my voice, so that your viewing and listening experience is going to be better. We will be adjusting the limiter as we go through these sounds because they do vary tremendously in level. So if you see me tweak something here and nothing's happening on the instrument screen, then that's what I'm doing. If you hear a distortion, it's probably the limiter, and if it isn't, I'll let you know, and I'll probably let you know either way. But let's start playing this aggressive one kit. So yeah, very cool stuff. Obviously we touched on the kicks and snares here. If you go to the middle blue zone, we'll get some hi-hats here. So just a lot of, as you play with this, you're going to hear a lot of scope and diversity in the sound. Some are going to be like clearly more, you know, electronic leaning. Some are going to be more like even, you know, hip hop. Some are just going to be like more like chiptune-ish, and some are going to be more cinematic. So there's a ton of scope here. And what I love about it is that it introduces you into this very rich and what's the word that I'm looking for? Diverse landscape of sounds. So you start to think about sounds a bit more openly, not be so genre limited, and, you know, introduce sounds that actually fit your music best, regardless of what they're doing. Then up here in the orange, listen to the soundscape of that. That's fantastic. Very nice imaging there. So this is kind of a mixed bunch here. We have some even hi-hatty, snare-ish sounds. We have some toms and some effects here. Then at the very top, this is what I believe is like a clear effects type of a area of the sample pool. Pretty sure that's the Reaper sound from Mass Effect. Yeah, this is kind of a mixed bunch here, but usually, yeah, you have your kick, snares, hi-hats, then we'll actually have to look at what they are in the other. But you have usually toms, effects, etc., that kind of cymbals and that kind of stuff. In terms of what happens here in the purple zone, we'll have to test. Okay, so the blue keys here definitely have something to do with activating the grid, which obviously now doesn't have anything, so nothing's happening. And I think this might be, let's check. Yeah, it's choosing the pattern there. So this is, you can basically, you know, save different patterns in the groove, the grid engine, and then cycle through them here. Fair enough. And let's open the effects page here. The red keys over here, well, actually they're apparently, no, yeah, here, do momentary effects. So let's check them out. So actually really cool stuff. I should definitely be using that more because it is super fast, creative, inspiring. And again, you can obviously combine them as well. So yeah, really fantastic layout here. Yeah, I think we should probably move on into the next kit. So this is Aggressive 2 kit. Yeah, I mean, this is the Heavyocity stuff. It's the kind of like weird stuff that I especially love and I was hoping for, because for the soundtrack I want to use stuff that kind of lies between percussive and pitched, percussive and melodic somehow. And a lot of these kind of pitched percussive electronic things are the kind of stuff that I want to use as a glue between the harmony and the melody and the percussion. So yeah, I just love this kind of weird stuff. So yeah, here we had some effects and then cymbals, etc. Moving on to Ambient Edge Kit. Again, kind of a mix of, you know, shaker, tom, effect stuff here. Yeah, and then we have cymbals up here. And some effects. So, I mean, when they're in this sort of kit form, they're kind of blended in these sort of ways. But, yeah, I mean, this is just... I mean, I love this library. It's just so much... It's just so much stuff in here, so much content. Let's go into Cinetron 1 kit. Actually gonna push up the level just a bit. Yeah, this kind of interesting, like, electronic, processed, grainy, glitchy stuff. I love this. Hopefully this conveys the scope. I'm only playing, you know, kits or instruments as they are set in octaves, but you can obviously mix and match any way you want. Hopefully you get an idea of how, I mean, you can go anywhere with this, but again, I love this kind of weird, glitchy electronic stuff that you can't quite pinpoint. Like, this source sound could be pretty much anything, and through this processing and mangling, it arrived at this location. I mean, again, beautiful imaging, very nice, mature, low end here. And just like these kind of very simple, almost nothing percussive sounds, but they're so precise and super impactful. Just adding these kind of flavors into other elements when you're, let's say, going for that kind of electronic hybrid sound just goes a long way. I mean, this kind of stuff, I just love this. This sounds, it's a fantastic sound. Just perfect. I love this stuff. All right, yeah, I mean, I'm getting lost in here. And, you know, just to give you an idea here, I mean, this is just a selection of the kits that are in here, which are just like a configuration of, you know, what they've kind of envisioned to pair well with one another. But again, you can just combine them as you wish. Cinetron 2 kit. And again, here in the kick, you have this, you know, electronic kick element, but then this kind of a weird thing following it. Kind of an electronic clock ticking. Again, a lot of like good selection of these weird glitchy poppy, not like pop music, but like they pop work kind of elements. I love just adding those. Really brings a simple electronic element to your percussive parts if that's what you're after. Doesn't take much. Like, let's say you have a good selection of snares and toms and kicks or taikos, and then you throw in something like this. If you want to give it that electronic edge, it's very easily achievable with stuff like that. And we have some cymbals here. Yeah, again, a lot of stuff in here, fantastic stuff. Deep House Kit. I mean, that finger snap click, ooh. I mean, I think that speaks for itself. But yeah, you get an idea. Like, this goes for very specific genres, gives you those tools if you want, and then it gives you a bunch of other stuff as well. But yeah, it can be. I mean, they say it's a modern groove engine. Like, when you go for a library that's this wide in scope, it covers so much ground, it can be definitely difficult to name it. But yeah, I mean, I like the modern groove engine because it's kind of open in terms of where you can use it, but it can be difficult to communicate just how much stuff there is in here. This one is Distorto Kit. Yeah, I love this stuff. I mean, those hit so nicely, have such a focused, juicy sound. Again, a wonderful selection of these blips and blops. Cool. Moving on into drum and bass 1 kit. Beautifully placed, those blips and blops and clips, and I'm not even using words at this stage. Just wonderful sound. So well balanced. And again, here you can just mix and match anything, so you could really go for your own sound. This is what I love about this. Obviously, that's always the case with music, but it feels like a wonderfully open library. It's not trying to lock you down to like, hey, here's the sound, use this. Even when we have these kits, they're just like more like a guideline. Can't stop playing these. Yeah, that one is that is super polished. Drum and bass 2 kit. So snappy, so juicy. Super nice. So juicy. Cool stuff. Dubstep 1 kit. Again, loving these glitchy things. Yep. Dubstep 2 kit. Let's bring down that limiter. Obviously, these kits are of varying levels, so again, I just love this kind of stuff. Yep. Dubstep 3 kit. Yeah, a lot of the time, these effects stuff are my favorites because there's a lot of crazy stuff. You know, I love crazy stuff, so that really shouldn't overlook them too much. Electro Dance 1 kit. Let's bring down the limiter a bit. Not to crush too much of that. I love that. How the hi-hat rings out until you actually play something else. So it kind of does this kind of auto ducking in this mode very nicely. I mean, this is super solid. Let's see how long these hands last. I remember this was the case last time when I filmed, or the last times when I filmed, because it was really, it really tires your hands. Very nice selection of claps there. One of the things you also want to keep in mind is the transitional effects. I've said this before, that there's still a distinct lack of transitional effect libraries out there. Again, if they're out there, they're under a rock. I can't find them. You know, Gravity 1, fantastic. Now we have Gravity 2, which is even better. Then we have, you know, Rise and Hit by Native Instruments, or I don't know if Galaxy Instruments made that. I think maybe so. But yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff. But they also tend to always have a sound to them, and sometimes you want a different sound. So I still think there's a lot of room for libraries like that out there. So this one definitely like jumps in there with a lot to offer. So that's an additional thing to keep in mind. Electro Dance Kit 2, Dance 2 Kit. It's like a very tight robot fart. I mean, that kind of proves the point of the transitional effects that I was talking about. GlitchSlap Kit. And again, here I love how that's a very strange kind of a kit. They're super mellow. You have this sharper top end with that transient spike. It kind of sits there in the back, kind of lukewarm. Yippity-doo, Hiphop Kit. And that's a good example of having a sample which is kind of longer, has its own rhythm, etc. Just that can really inspire your, groove and percussion building a lot. That's a fantastic sound. Definitely going to be using that. Hybrid Scoring 1 kit. I wonder if I triggered some filter on all of these hi-hats. No, it seems like it's... I can't find that right now. I don't know if I triggered something there, or whether it's stylistically made to be like that, but Hybrid Scoring 2 kit. And just fantastic. Fantastic sounds. Fantastic transitional stuff. Let's move on to Latin Dance Kit. Cool. Not much of a Latin dance player myself, but Latin Organic Kit. That's how much Latin music I can play. Lofi Kit 1. those kind of tiny, like glitchy mechanic sounds, something like mechanic processed in a glitchy way. So juicy. Super tight, very focused. Yeah, vast array of stuff. Lofi 2 kit. Let's push the level a bit. Wonderful sound. Brilliant Metason Kit. Fantastic stuff. You can obviously hear a lot of overlapping sounds or like same samples used in different kits. It's obviously going to be the case, but they do give you a good different selection of them. Okay, good. We're getting closer to the end of this section. There's just so much stuff to go through. Ooh, that snap. That's so good. Wonderful track there. Old school house kit. Very, very cool. Rock kit. Cool. That's what rock sounds like. Steroids 1 kit. Cool. Steroids. Oh, there's no steroids too. Techno Kit. I hope this, just like plowing through this isn't annoying, but yeah, just trying to explore as much of the soundscape of this as possible and give you an idea of what's in there, so yeah. We had Techno Kit, right? Yeah, so going into trance. Just so juicy, they sit so nicely. There's some absolute gems in here. Again, love that kind of stuff. Vintage 809 kit. This kind of a sound, super simple, electronic, but kind of probably sourced from something organic. Maybe not. I mean, obviously it says 809, so probably not, but has that kind of a quality to it. Cool. Yeah, we went through all of the, well, only the one folder of the DM-307 style kits. Then you have even more stuff, which you have element I didn't say that word till the end. Element kits. So this breaks down essentially into a lot of the individual components that we touch on there. That was sort of to demonstrate as wide of a scope as possible, but here this is super convenient. This is really well laid out in terms of a library folder structure, because you can go kind of general and wide and kind of stylized, but then you can also go specific to the instrument type you want to have, and it's super useful because then you can open kicks individually if you're searching for a perfect kick for your track or a snare or whatever else. So this is super good. Loving this makes your life easier. And then when you're playing with those, let's say those stylized full kits, then you can jump in here to find specifically the elements you like and remove the ones you don't. Impacts and effects grid, effects kits. My speaking is not at its best apparently. Let's go through some of these real quick. And again, this is simply randomly touching on a few of these. And here we have the same, but with the grid potential dives. That's limiter clipping, so let's pull that back a bit. Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. And again, you can use this in so many different genres. Cinematic, you know, music, obviously, trailers, just electronic, whatever you're working on. Just super, super good. Modular effects. Again, I love this one because it has all of this fun stuff in here. Just fantastic. That one is empty. Yeah, super, super good. Reverse is odd electro. Bit loud, pull that back. Again, just scraping the surface here, but you get an idea of the production or quality of these. Then you have reverse is wet and dry, so that kind of combines that. Sweeps, odd effects, and sirens. Okay, I had my mic on there, but apparently this doesn't always work. This is actually a pretty unexplored part of this, but I'm already loving this because this is like great for ambient stuff. But then you obviously have other stuff in here as well. But yeah, it's crazy that it has this because this, again, it works. This is such a wider range of stuff in here. Sounded like a cyborg cow who never just stops mooing. Yeah, and then you have let's do the tempo synced risers. That's fantastic. even remember how good these were, so I have to definitely revisit that and make the most of that. Then you have a standard MIDI kits folder, which we're not gonna look at, but seems like... Okay, well, I mean, when you open it up, let's just see. I don't know what the difference is, but... Okay, so the layout seems to be standard MIDI drums layout, as they say. So that's actually really cool, because if you're used to playing drums like that, which most people are who play drums with keyboards, that's actually really cool to have. And it seems like we have the same set of kits as we did in the DM-307 style kits. So that's actually very nice to have. Then you have something called Kit Grooves. And in here you have further folders in genres, so drum and bass, dubstep, electronic, hybrid, scoring, industrial edge, Latin organic rock. Latin organic, rock, not Latin organic rock, which would be probably interesting to hear. Inside here you have this is just the industrial edge folder, a massive amount of things in here. I mean, geez. Let's do something from hybrid scoring, just to demonstrate what this is. But basically these seem to be marked in BPM. So we're in 1, 2, 4 right now. Let's take something that is close. Let's do Don't Even Think. And this one opens up the grid thingy-majingy. So these are focused around that. Cool, so that's the idea. It's basically not loops, it's grid based, so this sequencer based stuff. Yeah, they take the kit sounds and put them in the sequencer, and these are kind of pre-made grooves that you can get into. So this is just kind of showcases the immense amount of stuff that is in here, because these again are like these are another layer to the loops, and in a sense they're also far better because you can, you know, go in here into the sequencer and program your own stuff. So it's pretty bonkers they include this in here. But yeah, I mean, a bunch of pre-made stuff, and they're all in these stylized kits, which we you know, had a look at the sounds at least. But as you can see, this is only the hybrid scoring folder, and they have all these pre-made ideas here for you. Let's have a look at industrial edge. Let's do something, let's do thinking, because that's what we do a lot. You get the idea. So a bunch of pre-made stuff, again, more flexible than loops because it's a sequencer thingy. We're not going to dive deeper into that because that just, you know, there's so much to go into. but you've heard much of the sounds already. This takes those sounds and puts them in sequenced, genre stylized sequencer loops, or sequencer. I don't even know what to call them, but yeah, cool. Let's move into the loops folder. Again, I love these. I love the way Heavyocity does these because, first of all, they're fantastically done. The creative ideas are fantastic. The arrangements are fantastic. The production quality and mixing here is fantastic. So you have access to that. Let me open up hybrid scoring loops here. And once again, everything you hear in here can be broken down into individual elements. So we're in the all full loops folder. So each one of these keys has a full loop that consists of kicks and snares and hi-hats and effects, etc. And they sound like this. And everything you hear in here is broken down into individual elements, which you go here into the breakout loops. So for example, breakout 3 takes the stuff that was happening in the third octave there, and he breaks it down into these individual elements. So again, the first octave, this isn't color-coded as well as in, for example, master sessions, which we checked out. First octave plays the full loop. So let's find something fun. That's a cool one. So the same note in the different octave plays an element of that loop. So first one is usually kick, or I think always. Second one is the snare. And the top one, or the third one, is like some kind of hi-hat element, I think. And then you have this usually like effects, other stuff. And again, if I play that in the first octave, plays all of those. And then I can also play them together myself if I want. So that's cool. Obviously, we can combine any of these in any way we want. So let's take randomly a kick there, snare here. Let's do that. So that's simply a random combination of whatever was in there. Let's do another one. You get the idea. Mix and match as you wish. And again, this is great from a creative perspective because you can start with a full loop, find something you like, find something you're inspired by, find something you want to use or want to recreate or whatever. And then you can go into the breakouts to get rid of the stuff you don't like and just use the stuff you do, and then combine with the other stuff you want to use from any of these loops. Then you have also this elements folder, which yeah, it just breaks it down even to further elements. That's why they're called that. So you can go into as much detail as you want, or into as much, you know, towards the full loop as you want. So here's an industrial mashup of all full loops. Cool. So that's basically the idea. Again, as you can hear, they're fantastically done. In a, you know, Heavyocity style, they tend to be leaning towards the harder hitting end of things, but that's by no means everything it does. And again, you can go in here and undo as much of the effects and processing as you want. Some samples do obviously include processing in them, so you can't actually undo everything, but you know, to a fair degree, I find you can actually you know, get rid of stuff you don't want to have in there. In terms of the, again, the styles, you got electronic, ethnic mashup, hybrid scoring, industrial mashup, urban mashup, and then utility elements. Again, I really love the utility elements folder because it includes it puts all of a single instrument type into one folder. This is absolutely fantastic. So you have all of the snare loops in one, all the kick loops in one. This is really great if you want to quickly audition stuff and find stuff that you know, works well for your track. You don't have to go individually based on all of those genre or style folders. You can just do this approach. It gives you fast access to whatever you're going for. So that's really good to remember. Then you have also single loops in here, which breaks down into those single elements. Cool. I actually think that that about wraps it up. Then you obviously have multis, which break down into performance multis, which I would presume are sort of a curated selection of all kinds of stuff which you have fast access to. And productional multis, I don't know what the difference is, but I would presume they are maybe done from the perspective of, let's actually try and see. Well, they're named the same way, so I would presume this has something to do with the layout of it. The other one is like performative focused, and this is probably laid out in such a way that you have sort of, I don't know, faster access to elements from a productional standpoint. These, you do have folders here with some signature artist multis, which is, again, this like goes, I think, above and beyond what people maybe expect, but again, this speaks to the scope of this library. You got artists Kaiser Disco, Martin Eirer, I'm sorry if I messed that up, Mendo, Pirupa, and Uner, I don't know which one it is, but then you have Jason Graves, Joe Trapanese, Kevin Riepel, all familiar names to me, and I'm sure many who are in the space of cinematic scoring stuff. So cool. I think that's it for this this video. Let's open up something nice here for us to look at and wrap this up. Cool. So yeah, I mean, super vast scope, a lot of stuff in here, a lot of different styles, different genres, different ways of writing music. You have these stylized selections, then you have kind of a utilitarian approach with everything in one package, like kicks and snares, etc., which I personally really love. The kits are fantastic, super playable. Again, in typical Heavyocity fashion, very responsive. No, I didn't even a single time throughout this didn't think about playability at all. That's just a fantastic, I think the best praise you can have for playability altogether. Interface is very clean. Obviously this has been out for quite a while, so you can argue that it's not, you know, fully or you know, polished up to modern day visual standards, but it's still super clean and clear, easy to navigate, no issues whatsoever. So that's really a non-issue, non-factor in my books. But yeah, fantastically recorded, processed, produced, mixed. I think this is a pretty much a no-brainer for anybody who uses electronic percussive samples, period. Like, doesn't really matter what genre you're in, unless you're in some kind of obscure thing that I can't think of. But again, you can easily hear the sound of this based on the kits that we went through, and also listening to some of these loops here. But yeah, the versatility, the utilitarian perspective of this is fantastic. Very well thought through, whether you're working with kits or loops or whatever else. So high praise from me, and as I said, I'm using this pretty extensively on this soundtrack that I'm working on right now. So hopefully that helps you understand what this is about. If you have this back at your studio or back at home, let me know what you think. And if you have thoughts on this video, let me know down in the comments. Again, thank you to Heavyocity for sending this over. Really loving this piece of kit. And to you watching or listening, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Finished.